गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahans Paravajakacharya Shuddha Śrimad His Divine Grace is Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Vartman Acharya Vrind ki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from 3rd Canto, 10th chapter, verse number 15. Adhyastu mahata sargo guna vaishamyam atmanah dvitiyastva ahamo yatra Dravya Gnana Kriyodaya Adhyastu Mahata Sargo Adhyastu Mahata Sargo Adhyastu Mahata Sargo Guna Vaishamya Atmana Guna Vaishamya Atmana Guna Vaishamya Atmana Dvitiyastva ahamo yatra Dvitiyastva ahamo yatra Dvitiyastva ahamo yatra Dravya Gnana Kriyodaya Dravya Gnana Kriyodaya Dravya Gnana Kriyodaya Adhyastu Mahata Sargo Guna Vaishamatmana Dvitiyastva ahamo yatra Dravya Gnana Kriyodaya. Gnana Kriyod Vaishnavis. Adhyasto Mahato Sargo Sta aho yatra Dravya Gnana Kriyodaya. Adhya, the first. Tu, but. Mahata, of the total emanation from the Lord. Saraga, creation. Guna Vaishamyam, interaction of the material modes. Atmanaha, of the Supreme. Dvitiyaha, the second. Tu, but. Ahama, false ego. yatra, wherein, dravya, material ingredients, jnana, material knowledge, kriya udaya, awakening of activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Of the 9 creations, the first one is the creation of the Mahatattva, or the sum total of the material ingredients, wherein the modes interact due to the presence of the Supreme Lord. In the second, the false ego is generated, in which the material ingredients, material knowledge, and material activities arise. Purport. The first emanation from the Supreme Lord for material creation is called the Mahatattva. The interaction of the material modes is the cause of false identification, or the sense that the living entity is made up of material elements. This false ego is the cause of identifying the body and the mind with the soul proper. Material resources and the capacity and the knowledge to work are all generated in the second term of creation, after the Mahatattva. Jnana indicates the senses which are sources of knowledge and their controlling deities. Work entails the working organs and their controlling deities. All these are generated in the second creation. Umagyan timirandasya ghananjana shalakaya Chakshurun militam yena tasme Shri Guruve namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpataruvyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shirade Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak some words from Śrimad Bhāgavatam. So here, as we understand that Mahatattva is the first creation and the next is false ego, Ahankar. And what is Ahankar? It is made up of, it makes you feel, it makes the living entity feel that he is made up of the material nature. Bhaktivedanta Thakur explains that false ego is like a veil which covers the living entity. And false ego is the cause of identifying oneself with the mind and this body and not with the soul. Living entity is a pure spiritual energy, but the false ego, when it covers, it makes the living entity feel that it has a material body and a material mind. And he is made up of, he is that person. We understand from the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, in the 7th canto, this pastime comes of 4 Kumaras visiting Vaikuntha. And at the gate of Vaikuntha, there are 2 gatekeepers, Jai and Vijay. They are at the gate of Vaikuntha. Means you can understand they are such high position. And when the 4 Kumaras approach them and they want to enter Vaikuntha, Jai and Vijay stops them. Because they see these 4 Kumaras are not dressed properly and saying they will disturb, probably these small children will disturb our Lord. So immediately the four Kumaras actually cursed Jay and Vijay that you are identifying yourself as the gatekeeper. But actually what is your position? Your position should be you are the servant of the Lord. So we all, instead of thinking that we are servant of the Lord, we start identifying ourselves as a particular position or particular service, and that's what actually we are covering. Our living Jiva soul is covered by the false ego, and that is why we are misidentifying ourselves. And that is why they fell down in the material world. They came from the spiritual world. They were at the gate of the spiritual world, and because they did not identify themselves as the servant of the Lord, but they identified falsely as the gatekeeper, or they are the one who are the protectors of the Vaikunta, and that's why they had to fall down. So basically the first point is that false ego causes us forgetfulness of our real identity. It covers up and we forget what is our real identity. And that's how we get entangled in karma. The first thing false ego does is you forget what you are. Second point is, false ego is the filter through which the pure consciousness gets distorted. It is like a lens. If you wear a green lens, you see everything green. If you wear a blue lens, you see everything blue. There is a beautiful pastime in the scriptures of King Nahusha. Nahusha was a great king who performed lots of tapasya, yagyas, a lot of charity, and finally he attained so much pious activities that he became the king of the heavenly planet. It's not easy to become the king of the heavenly planet. He took the position of Indra. He became king of Svargalok. And then he started thinking he is the proprietor and he is the enjoyer. His false ego started making him see through that lens. Even though he performed so many austerities and he purified himself, he actually achieved a very high position, but he started thinking himself to be the enjoyer. To the extent, he thought, now I am the king, the Svargalok belongs to me, this is my property, and Indra's wife, Sachi, is also my property. So Indra had already gone from there. So he sent an invitation to Sachi that I am coming and you need to spend some time with me. And Sachi was very bewildered. So Sachi approaches the sages, the 7 rishis, and she asks them, what should I do? So the sages said, okay, just tell him that King Nahusha, if you want to come and enjoy with me, you need to come in a palanquin. And that palanquin should be carried by the great 7 sages, Saptarishis. Now it was such anybody, normal person also would think, how can you ask a great sage to carry your palanquin? But because Nahusha had worn this lens, that I am the proprietor, I am the enjoyer, he ordered 7 sages, you carry my palanquin. And they were carrying his palanquin. And Agastya Rishi, he created a situation that he moved a little bit, and then the Nahusha's feet actually touched Agastya Rishi's head. And immediately lost all the pious activities. And Agastya Rishi cursed him to become a snake. So again fall down. So false ego is that powerful and that detrimental for a living entity, that whatever you do, but it actually, if you keep seeing through that lens, however high position you achieve, again you come back down. That snake and ladder, the game. You reach 99 and there's a snake, again you come back to 5 or 6. We have another example of King Kaushika. Kaushika was a very, very great, powerful king. He had big army, he had some 60 million soldiers. He won a battle, and on his way back to his kingdom, he came across an ashram of Vasishtha Rishi. So he entered the ashram, and Vasishtha Rishi welcomed all of them. He had some few thousand sons and 60 million soldiers. And Vasishtha Muni offered him that you please stay tonight here, refresh yourself, and I will prepare very wonderful feast for you. And King Kaushik started laughing. He said, you are a rishi, you have a small ashram, where is the place? He said, no, you just wait. You just go wash your, be freshen up and then come here and sit down. And King Kaushik wanted to know, what is this? So he came and all of the soldiers sat down. And to his great surprise, Vasishtha Rishi served each one of them a very big sumptuous feast. The king had never eaten such a feast in his life. He ate the prasadam and he asked Vasishtha Rishi, how did you do it? And he had a beautiful Kamadhenu cow there. And he said, this is my cow who fulfills the desires. And immediately, King Kaushik, his false ego, the lens, that this kingdom is mine, your ashram is in my kingdom, this cow belongs to me. Give me this cow. So Vasishtha Rishi explained that, this cow actually helps me in my services, in my whatever devotional service I do to the Lord and taking care of all the people who are staying in ashram. You have so many things. He said, no, I want the cow. And he started, Vasishtha Rishi could not say anything because he was a king. And he pulled the cow. And Kamadhenu is looking at Vasishtha Rishi. I don't want to go. But Vasishtha Rishi kept quiet. He did not speak anything. And then Kamadhenu had tears in her eyes and she said, she just looked at Vasishtha Muni communicating that if you can't protect me, I will protect myself. And immediately from the ear of Kamadhenu, hundreds of soldiers came out and they destroyed the army of King Kaushik. And he was shocked. He was very humiliated. He went back. Again he came back with a bigger army. And again Kamadhenu was destroying each one of them. And at that time, Brahmarshi, he got his one danda. He had a danda. It was Brahmarshi Vasishtha. So he put his danda like this and he just chanted Omkar. And the entire army of Kaushik was destroyed. So he realized that Vasishtha Muni has this power because of this danda. So he decided, I want to become Brahmarshi. See how the false ego can take you for a ride. And he said, he started performing tapasya. He accumulated lots of pious activities and there was a king named Trishanku. He was very beautiful. And he wanted to go in the same body to the heavenly planet. So he approached Vasishtha because Trishanku comes in the dynasty of Lord Ram. So he approached Vasishtha that, you are our Kula Guru. Please make sure that I go in the same body to the heavenly planet. Vasishtha Muni said it is not possible. So Trishanku was very disappointed. And when King Kaushik came to know, now who was performing tapasya, he said, Vasishtha has refused you. I will make sure that you go in the same body. And he started sending with all the tapasya which he had done for hundreds of years, Trishanku up to the heavenly planet. And Trishanku started going up. And then this body was not actually meant to stay in heavenly planet. So as he was going up, coming closer to Svargalok, his entire body started, tearing apart. And he was in pain. But King Kaushik, who is actually none other than Vishwamitra Muni said, no, you can't come back, you go up. And Indra was seeing from the heavenly planet. He was telling everybody, push him down. So they were pushing him down and he was pushing him up because it became a Vishwamitra's ego issue. That I have to send him up. And he could not do that. Then Vishwamitra, through his penances, whatever he had accumulated pious activities, On that he created another heavenly planet, special Swargalok, and he sent the Shanku there. He was thinking he made this Swargalok, but in meantime he lost all tapasya, whatever he had done. Result was given up. So again he started performing tapasya. And then we know Menaka came. And just the single tingling of the ankle bells of Menaka, he forgot what he was doing and why he was doing. He started enjoying with her. And then again he started performing a lot of tapasya. He overcome anger, he had to overcome lust, and finally his ego was completely removed by the process of Bhakti Yoga. And then he became the Brahmarshi. And he purified himself to such a great extent that he got the opportunity to serve Lord Ram. He was the reason for Lord Ram and Mother Sita to meet in Ramayana. He was the one who arranged their marriage. So false ego can actually, this lens can take you for a ride and you can go on and on and on for lifetimes. The third point is that false ego makes you forget the spiritual stature of other living entities. Not only you misidentify as yourself, you start identifying yourself with something else, but also you do not understand what is the stature of the other person. And here we know the example of Daksha Prajapati. Daksha Prajapati was Prajapati. He was mainly given the service of creation. We know he had so many daughters and his son-in-laws were powerful rishis. And he was a great devotee of Lord Narayan. And one of his daughters, Sati, she got attracted to Lord Shiva. And Daksha Prajapati could not accept Lord Shiva. His ego covered him in such a way that he could not see the one of the high spiritual stature of Lord Shiva. He offended him. He did not invite him for yagyas. When one of the yagya where Brahmaji was invited, Shivji was invited, and Daksha Prajapati was invited. When Daksha entered that place, Lord Shiva was meditating on Lord Ram. We always see Lord Shiva sitting and meditating. So Lord Shiva was meditating on Lord Ram. And when Daksha Prajapati entered, everybody got up, they paid their obeisances. But Brahmaji, being the father of Daksha Prajapati, he did not expect that he would get up. But he was expecting and he was wanting Lord Shiva to get up and offer obeisances to him. See how the false ego works. And Lord Shiva it's not that he didn't want to offer obeisances, but he was busy in closing his eyes and meditating on Lord Ram. And this agitated Daksha Prajapati like anything. And he declared from today onwards, Lord Shiva, any yagya, anywhere it is performed, the ahuti will not go to Lord Shiva. And then he organized the yagya. He invited everybody else except Lord Shiva and Sati. And Sati was really disturbed. He said, I want to go. And Lord Shiva is explaining to her that you will not be welcome there. He said, no, he is my father. She started identifying herself, even though she is the wife of Lord Shiva, she started identifying herself as the daughter of Daksha Prajapati. And said, I am his daughter, and daughters don't need invitation to go to their father's house. I will go. And when she decided to go, Lord Shiva said, this will be very detrimental for you. This is pure spiritual consciousness, Lord Shiva. He said, this is not good for you. And Nandi goes with her. And she is not respected there. She feels great insult. And she burns herself. And she said, I don't want this body, Dakshayani. I am called Dakshayani. I want to destroy this body who is connected to you, Daksha. So false ego covered Daksha so much that he could not see the high spiritual stature of Lord Shiva. So third thing is, false ego makes you forget the spiritual stature of the other persons. In fact, Srila Prabhupada always says, whenever there are disturbances or conflict between devotees, Prabhupada would say sometimes, if you just knew who is that devotee in the spiritual world, you would not make such comments. Fourth point, false ego. Under false ego, living entity claims to be the enjoyer of this world. In fact, false ego traps the soul in the lower form of enjoyment. And we have the famous story of Indra. Indra was cursed to become a pig. He became a pig, he had his pig wife, piglets, children. He was enjoying eating stool. And finally, he was supposed to come back to Swargalok. He was not coming. And Brahmaji came and he said, come on, it's a time to come back. He said, no, my wife, my children, my sewage, my nice food. And then finally, Brahmaji had to cut off his head to make him realize that, you are not here. So, false ego makes you think that you are the enjoyer. Even the lowest form of enjoyment, it convinces you that this is good for you. False ego is very subtle. It's very subtle. And in this subtle form, sometimes for the sadhakas, he makes us lose focus on our real nature and purpose. Every sadhaka, each one of us are trying to achieve our real nature of the soul, Jivara Sarva Krishna Nityadas. But the false ego is so subtle that sometimes it makes you forget and makes you lose your focus on your purpose. And we have an example of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj gave up everything and he was performing nice austerities, practicing bhakti yoga, and he became compassionate to a deer. Very subtle. He didn't realize this compassion is now becoming, and when compassion is not bad, but in that compassion, he lost the focus on his sadhana. He forgot why is he doing, what is he doing. So many times, like we dress the deities, and then we come out and somebody says, oh, such a beautiful turban. Who made it? I made it. I am the dresser. I cooked this bhoga. I did this. So this is a subtle form of false ego affecting the sadhakas. Srila Prabhupada explains in the second canto, second chapter, 19th shloka, material desires are based on false ego. All the desires, the material desires, are based on your false ego. And material desires, they entangle us more and more in the cycle of karma. Shurpanakha, she got attracted to Lord Ram's beauty. And she had developed intense desire to enjoy Lord Ram. And she wanted to kill Mother Sita. And her nose was cut off. And to take the revenge of that, she instigated Ravan. And the entire battle of Ramayana took place, where he kidnapped Mother Sita. In Ramayana, Vali, he thought he had the ego of strength. He thought that I am the strongest. Ravana, his ego, his desires, that everything belongs to me and I want to enjoy everything. I am the proprietor of everything. Kaikai, her false ego made her desire that she can change the destiny. Shri Radha Gokulananda Sita Ram Lakshmana Man ki jai. She thought she has the control over destiny, and her desire covering up her pure consciousness, made her actually put Ram in exile, even though she loved Ram. Duryodhan, his false ego covered him up so much that he thought he is the proprietor of everything and he doesn't want to give anything to anybody. Karna, his false ego made him think that he should be loyal. False loyalty and self-image. Shishupal, his false ego forced him that he is equal. He constantly was comparing himself with Krishna. Constantly. And that because of jealousy, he kept insulting Lord Krishna. So living entity can go to any extent. The false ego can, make you fall down to any extent. That even, not only with other living entities, but you will actually start competing with the Lord Himself. But the pure consciousness, the pure transcendence, our Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, is so humble that Krishna became chariot driver. He became the messenger. Humble service. Lord Ram accepted exile. So desires, we are discussing about desire. How Lord Ram, he was supposed to become the king, but immediately when he was put in exile, he immediately accepted it. So when your living entity achieves the highest pure level, then the false ego cannot disturb them. Bharat Maharaj, the brother of Lord Ram, when he was given that you become the king, he said, no, I will do it on behalf of Lord Ram. So when the living entity gets purified of the false ego, he or she understands that I am not the doer, I am doing this on behalf of Lord. In fact, Bharat Maharaj would sleep, Lord Ram was sleeping on this level of ground, so he would dig the ground and would sleep below that. Because I cannot be on the same level as the Lord. Hanumanji performed superhuman task. And he said, I am the servant of the king of Koshala. I am servant of Ram. So even though you do big activities, but you give credit to Lord, you give the credit to the Lord, or you always see yourself as the servant. Maharaj Bali, when Lord Vamandev asked him for the 3 steps, first and second step, everything was taken. And third step, he put his head. It is not something, nobody can think like this unless and until you are a devotee. That yes, I accept this inferior position. This is my position, my Lord. So spiritual, material desires, they entangle more and more, and spiritual desires, they actually purify you. So we discussed about Shurpanakha, that how she got attracted to Lord Ram, and then, she instigated Ravan to kidnap Mother Sita. But still her desire to love Ram did not reduce. So Shurpanakha performed tapasya for 10,000 years under the water. And she pleased Lord Shiva. And she asked him that I have the desire to achieve Lord Ram as my husband. And Lord Shiva blessed her that very soon when Lord Krishna will come in Dwapar Yuga, you will be reborn as Kubja. So Krishna is so kind. He doesn't forget our desires, if these spiritual desires. And Krishna fulfilled the desire of Shurpanakha by accepting her in the form of Kubja. Actually, when Krishna and Balram enter Mathura, if you see the pastimes, he is actually fulfilling each and everyone's desire. When he entered, he saw this weaver who came and he wanted to offer him clothes. And Krishna tells Balram, do you know, Balram, who is this weaver? In his previous life, he was a weaver in the court of Janak Maharaj. And as Lord Ram, when I won the Swayamvar and my marriage was fixed, Janak Maharaj asked this weaver to make clothes for me and Lakshman. And that time this weaver had expressed a desire that not only I want to make these clothes, but I want to make you wear these clothes. A simple desire. A living entity had a simple desire that I want to dress you up. And Janak Maharaj says, no, actually he is the is the prince of Ayodhya. So I cannot allow you to do that. But Lord Ram acknowledged the desire and allowed the weaver to fulfill his desire in the next life as Krishna. When they entered Mathura, weaver came, he offered this beautiful clothes and Krishna accepted. Krishna and Balaram accepted. The sages of Dandakaranya forest, when Lord Ram and Lakshman and Sita were in the Dandakaranya forest, they expressed a desire that Lord Ram, we are chanting your names, we are extremely happy, but we have a desire that we want to have a relationship with you as a husband. But Lord Ram said, I have taken a vrat, ekapatni vrat. In this life, I cannot fulfill your desires. But in next life, when I come as Krishna, you all will come as gopis of Vrindavan. And that time I will fulfill the desire of each one of you by dancing with you in the grooves of Vrindavan. There was a gardener named Himamali, and he performed tapasya with different lakhs of millions of lotuses to Lord Shiva. And when Lord Shiva was pleased, he asked, what do you want? He said, I want Lord Sri Krishna to come to my house. And said, it will be fulfilled. And Shiva was very pleased that nobody asked me such desires, Nobody does tapasya for such desires. And Krishna went to looking for Sudama, the florist. And he entered the house of Sudama and said, I want that garland. So when you have a spiritual desire, desires are created by false ego, but those desires, when they are spiritual, Krishna makes sure that those desires are fulfilled, whether in this life or the next life. The 8th point is, false ego is inferior energy and the living entity is a superior energy. So we are discussing a lot of things about false ego. False ego can do this, false ego can make you forget. But we must know, Prabhupada explained this in 3rd Canto, 6th chapter, 9th verse, that false ego is inferior energy and living entity is spiritual energy. So actually the living entity can overcome inferior energy with the superior energy. And we can see this in pastime of Chitraketu, who became Vritrasur. Chitraketu Maharaj, he had desire of having a son, and then somehow or other he got a son who died, and Harshashok, and then he purified himself by performing tapasya. Somehow or other, some communication gap, and Mother Parvati thought that he has insulted him, he is laughing at him, he was cursed to become a demon. And immediately he accepted that role. And even when he became Vritrasur, he never forgot his spiritual identity. So when there was a fight between Vritrasur and Indra, it was going on and on for years. And finally Vritrasur explained to him that you cut off my head like this. And I am not interested in this position, your position. I am only interested in remembering my Lord and serving my Lord. And he went into Samadhi. So even though he was in a body of a demon, he could overcome his false ego. And realizing his eternal nature, he could actually perfect his life. So we must understand that it requires energy and processes to overcome false ego. And what is that process? Prabhupada explains in 3.26.2, Atma Darshanam. Atma means a living entity can see himself as a Jivera Sarva Krishna Nityadas by cutting off the knot. It is explained that living entity is spiritual and the material nature, the false ego. False ego is the knot by which the material nature is attached to the spiritual living entity. It's the glue, you can say. When the living entity is given this glue of false ego, the material nature, activities, desires, everything gets connected. So when we practice spirituality, when we practice the process of bhakti yoga, only the process of bhakti yoga, this knot can be loosened. The material desires, material activities, the karma, the three modes, when you are acting under them, it just makes that knot more and more tight. Have you tried sometimes to open a knot? It's not so easy. A lot of knots are there. You try to open, it's not easy. Sometimes it gets tightened. So false ego is that knot. And Prabhupada explains that spiritual knowledge can cut this knot. Shranvata Svata Krishna, then Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhāgavata Sevaya. Then Chidante Hridaya Ganthi. All these shlokas, they say that this knot of false ego can be cut only by spiritual knowledge. I remember once in Bhaktivedanta hospital, we had one lady, we were in a meeting and suddenly we heard somebody screaming and yelling. And she was talking in some South Indian language we couldn't even understand. She is yelling at the top of her voice. And when I went with my team, I asked what happened. He said, her husband has been immediately shifted to ICU, he may leave his body any minute. And she was screaming and yelling, and I tried to speak to her. And with somebody who was a translator, we started talking to her. I said, by your screaming, actually nothing is going to happen. By your screaming, everybody else, they can't function normally. The only thing you can do at this point of time is pray for your husband. And then we realized she was saying, no, somebody should call up my daughter, she's in Dubai, she should come. I said, that will be done. You sit down with me and you read Bhagavad Gita. So we sat together. I said, if you can't read, I will read you here. And she said, ma'am, I have been reading Bhagavad Gita every day for so many years, but I am not able to remember anything. I said, okay, you just sit and you hear. And I started reading Bhagavad Gita and she was listening. In a matter of 10 minutes, she started speaking. Because she was reading every day, so she remembered, but she had forgotten. And after half an hour, she became peaceful. And to her great surprise, her husband recovered. But what I saw at that time, the power of Gita. How a living entity who was so disturbed, was not ready to listen to anybody. And that point for a lady, losing husband is very critical. But as soon as she started reading Bhagavad Gita, she became peaceful. Why she became peaceful? Sarvasya chaho hridisannivishta matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna is sitting within your heart as Paramatma and he made her feel comfortable. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Nimitta matra bhavasavya sachi. You think yourself as an instrument. You are not the doer. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadam. You have the right to perform your duty, but do not be attached to the results. All these shlokas are telling us how to overcome our false ego. Second way of cutting off this Hridaya Granthi is by serving Krishna. When Prakashananda Saraswati offered his hand to Lord Chaitanya came in the ashram of Prakashananda Saraswati and he sat down near the place where they were washing the feet. And Prakashananda Saraswati came and said, why are you sitting here? You are a sannyasi, please come. Just offering a little service to Lord Chaitanya. Immediately, he was a Mayavadi sannyasi. And he became disciple of Lord Chaitanya. And the third process, very powerful process of Bhakti Yoga, to cut this knot of Hridaya Granthi, to cut that knot and free the living entity from this false ego. Stop thinking that he is an enjoyer, he is a proprietor. Is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is actually loosening our knot, Hridaya Granthi. We can see in the example of Ajamil, when he chanted right time at the time of death, actually it cut off that knot without even his realizing. Because even if a person doesn't know the effect of the medicine still works. You may not know that how, rifampicin is going in your body and killing the tuberculosis germs, but actually it still works. So similarly, the holy name is that powerful sword which cuts off this knot. Dhruva Maharaj, he had the desire to have a bigger kingdom, and he was chanting the holy name, performing tapasya, and he got purified. So the holy name is the most powerful way of cutting off this Hriday Granthi. And the prostitute who sat in front of Haridas Thakur, just hearing him chanting the holy names, she had so many different desires, but she got completely purified. Our dear Srila Prabhupada, he would always say that whatever I am doing, he would give his credit to his spiritual master. I am a humble instrument in the hand of my spiritual master. My spiritual master is so kind that he has sent all of you to assist me in his service. So he never saw himself as a doer. Srila Prabhupada, even though devotees offered him such huge palaces, he always wanted to stay in that small little room of Radha Damodar. Material possessions, nothing was affecting his position. He was ready to do menial service. When he was started preaching in New York, he would himself cook, he would clean, he would wash the pots. So he did ready to do any menial service. And whatever he developed, whatever he got, he always thought this is the mercy of my spiritual master. So we as a practicing sadhaka, we understand this false ego, we know the real nature is very subtle, false ego is very subtle. But we can only pray to Srila Prabhupada, to Sri Radha Gokulananda, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, that please, my dear Lord, I am practicing this bhakti yoga. You are the one, you can cut off this knot. You have that sword. I am trying, but it is in your hand. You can do it. And Prabhupada explains at one place that only Krishna can do this. And Krishna is sitting in our heart as Paramatma next to the soul, and this knot is also there. So from within only Krishna can do it. We can only pray and practice bhakti yoga. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Should be a question? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. I have two questions. The first is about Shurparnaka. Yesterday somebody was asking me why Lakshman cut off her nose and ears, if there was any reason. I didn't know what to say. Do you know why?
Because when she approached Lord Ram and Lakshman in the forest, and she was very attracted to Lord Ram. She wanted to marry Lord Ram, and Lord Ram said, I am already married, my wife is here. You approach Lakshman, Lakshman is alone here. So she approached Lakshman, she thought, okay, this is the second best. So when she approached Lakshman, Lakshman actually was saying, no, if you become my wife, you will become servant of Sita. You better marry Sita, better marry Ram. And then, like a football, Ram and Lakshman were passing her to each other. And then she said, the root cause of me not getting Lord Ram is Sita. So I want to kill Sita. So she actually went to attack Mother Sita, and that's the time Lakshman cut off his nose.
Yeah, and I know the past time. I was wondering if there was any reason why he cut off her ears and nose.
Nose represents pride and beauty.
And the second question was, do you remember which chapter you read to the lady who was distressed at the hospital?
No, we just started reading second chapter.
Second.
Yes. We read for most of the time when people are leaving their body, second chapter or 15th chapter. But you can read any chapter.
Thank you so much, Mataji. I don't know when was the last time when I heard a class in which so many examples were quoted and they are flowing so wonderfully. Thank you so much. Sometimes false ego might also come as spiritual maturity, in the disguise of spiritual maturity. righteousness, we might think that I am more advanced than others because I have read more, I have more knowledge, I am on the Hari Bhakti Vilas level, I am on the Harinam Chintamani level, Gaur Ganadesh Deepika, Radha Krishna Ganadesh. These fellows, these are on Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita level. So I know better. So what is the solution for such a mentality?
So we all need to be very conscious, and we all are having this self-talk in our mind. Whatever we do, when you are listening to the call, there's a self-talk going on. In our mind, the ego is giving that self-talk. Oh, I am this, I am better than them, I can do better, I am like, I want to achieve this. So as soon as we get such thoughts, our self-talk has to remind us that any of such upadhis or any of this high knowledge is not making me closer to the Lord unless and until I actually practice it. Because you may know Gaur Ganadesh Deepika, who is Vasudev Datta, who is King Pratap Rudra, but what has to do with you? You need to get clear of your false ego. In fact, I wanted to tell one more pastime. You do have permission? 2 minutes? It's a very beautiful pastime. It is when Krishna, he was in Vrindavan, Kamsa was sending demon after demon. And Krishna was destroying all of them. So finally, Kansa, one of the spy, he said that actually Krishna is very attached to Srimati Radharani, his girlfriend. Why don't you kidnap her? If you kidnap her, Krishna will be finished. So when Kamsa heard that this particular, he said, describe Radharani. And when he heard, he said, I will kidnap and I will enjoy. His mentality changed. So he went to Kishori Kund, where Srimati Radharani was nearby. And he drank water. As soon as he drank the water of Kishori Kund and he got up, he suddenly saw that when he was walking, there is something coming in between. And so his dhoti had turned into a skirt. And he put his hand to take off his sword and he saw he had bangles. He started looking in the water and he was seeing there is a gopi behind. So he was looking here and there was nobody behind, and he realized he became a gopi. His identity completely changed. And he started talking, he had long hair. He started talking in a female voice. And then 2 gopis come, Lalita and Vishakha. And they are seeing, oh, there is a beautiful chariot here, horses here. Saying, who has come? Say, nobody, we can't see any king here. And then they see this huge gopi, Kansi gopi. And they approach. And Kamsa is covering his veil. He is saying, no. I don't want to, look at them. He said, who are you? You are a new gopi. He said, actually, I am King Kamsa. So Lalita and Vishakha started laughing. And they said, you are Kamsa? He said, yes, I came here, I drank water from this kund and I became a gopi. So you must have had some bad intent for Srimati Radharani. You must be wanting to kidnap Srimati Radharani. He said, yes. Saying, please bring me back to my kingly form. Saying, we cannot do it. Only Srimati Radharani can do it. And then Lalita and Vishakha said, okay, we'll take you to Srimati Radharani. Meantime, you make this cow dung patty. You carry this water. And Lalita and Vishakha made him do all the work. Finally, they came to Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani, they said, today there is a new gopi. He said, who is she? Saying she's claiming that she's Kansa. And he's begging to Srimati Radharani, please change my form. And Srimati Radharani says, Bhakti yogis perform millions of lifetimes, tapasya, to attain this gopi form, and you have got it, and you want to again become the king. See how the false ego, the point here is, how the false ego can cover you. He reached to Srimati Radharani with the gopi form. It is probably, what is this, free mein mil gaya, he got this thing without doing anything. You should have just taken it. But the false ego, no, I'm King Kamsa. I want to be King Kamsa. And said, okay, I can give you back the body unless and until you promise me that you never send anybody to disturb our pastimes in Vrindavan. You will never disturb Krishna. He said, I promise. And all the gopis made fun of him. They made him do a lot of cow dung paddies. And he said, now you go with Lalita, you take bath in this kund, and you will get this, your body. And at that time, Srimati Radharani speaks to herself, then when I will come as Lord Gauranga, that's the only time I will change all these people back to the gopi form. So Srimati Radharani is the most merciful goddess. What Krishna was trying to kill each and every demon, but Srimati Radharani in just one master stroke stopped Kamsa from sending anybody to Vrindavan. So even though you are in front of Srimati Radharani in a gopi form, the false ego is so powerful that it convinces you that I want to become Kamsa again. So similarly for devotees also, you may think I am, at this level reading God Ganesha Deepika, I am Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav. But you will remain there if you want to just be proud of all those things. So very important, it's very subtle. That's why I took that point. It's very subtle, very subtle. You will not realize. Bharat Maharaj could not realize. It's very painful for us to listen to that pastime. Somebody on such a high level, because of compassion, it's not easy. We are reading and we think, it happened. But actually you go in the deeper aspect of it, it is so painful, such a painful thing to happen to a devotee. Just because of compassion, you have to come back. Because false ego makes you forget that what is the goal. Your focus on the goal is deviated. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. It is also part of it. Because you are wonderful, that's why you are feeling